What's up, everybody? Welcome back to ICNV Driversedition Edition, and it's that time again. And what I mean by it's that time again, I had to shoot this video. I'm outside with Zeus, and yes, he's still in my possession, but it's time for that 4-year review on the car we have come to love so much, my Corvette C8 Zeus. And I call him Zeus because he's Zeus Bronze. And I'm gonna break down some information with you about this car, why I liked it, or should I say loved it so much. And then maybe we'll get into why I'm looking to move away from it, what the future holds for my Corvette ownership, and if you should look into possibly becoming an owner of a Corvette C8. Let's dive into it. So one thing's for sure, as you look at Zeus, you see he is a little dirty. And to be honest with you, man, I tried to get out and shoot this video real quick. One reason for it is because I knew I'm looking to move away from Zeus and listen to that boiler attack exhaust system song to you. Doesn't get much better than that. That is that boiler attack exhaust system. And yes, like I said before, Zeus is dirty. And as you look at him as he kind of changes colors on you, you'll start to see why I like him so much. Depending on the angle you're looking at Zeus on, he goes from brown to gold to a hint of bronze to black. And that's something I've grown to appreciate over my years of ownership. When I first got the car, I didn't really care for it too much. But then I realized the more and more I got out in the Corvette community and started to see it in person, it was a unique flipping color of this car, which I've grown to love. So let's hop behind the wheel of Zeus and talk more about this.
Hello, Buchanan, can I help you?
Yes, can I place an order for pickup?
Go ahead, order, please.
Yes, can I get a large shrimp fried rice and a large shrimp egg foo young? That's it.
I'll put the egg roll for you, 22.28.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so now that we're in the car, let's go ahead and talk about my ownership of Zeus. Now, I will sit there and tell you this. Let's turn the exhaust down a little bit, switch to normal touring mode, so it's a little bit quieter and I can have an easier, more reasonable conversation. When I set out to buy Zeus, I was looking to get my hands on a very nice, affordable to own, reliable supercar. And many people are going to sit there and say Zeus is not a supercar. I know we get that all the time. It's a Corvette, yada, 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 so forth and so forth. But for the type of performance it puts down supercar performance. It gives you supercar numbers in a lot of categories, especially like 0 to 60. And the way it accelerates. But that decision, I would say I would leave it up to you. But in my mind, compared to a lot of other cars that are considered supercars, Zeus is the perfect entry-level supercar. And I say that time and time again, the Corvette C8 is probably the best entry-level supercar you can get your hands on. Now, over the course of my ownership, a lot of people always like to ask, how reliable has Zeus actually been? Now, honestly, with all the bad news and the transmission issues and all the breakdowns taking place throughout the Escalade EV, but with all the breakdowns and so forth going on in the Corvette community, I have not had one real issue with Zeus. I've owned Zeus since the beginning of 2021. It is a 2020 model built during the last few production units of the 2020. It was one of the first 100 convertibles built, It is one of 100 in Zeus bronze, or should I say he is one of 100 in Zeus bronze. And the color combination with the interior and other specs also made him one of 11 for 2020. I believe when you added the 2021 models, because only 500 cars were built in Zeus bronze for the year 2020, it becomes a total of 1,057 cars. Out the 1,057 cars, there was less than an extra 100 convertibles built in Zeus bronze. So literally Zeus is one of maybe 180 something convertibles in Zeus bronze. And then, like I said, that one of 11, I think grew to maybe one of 21 or something like that. It's somewhere along those lines. I have to look it up again, but the numbers are at the house and they were given to me by another dealership at that point in time looking to acquire my car back in 2021 once the production ended, and I was offered a nice little penny, which truthfully that probably would have been the best time for me to get out of Zeus, but I really was just starting to have fun with them, playing with them, added the boiler attack exhaust system, so I at least wanted to own them another year. Over the course of my 4 years of ownership, the value has been a roller coaster. There are moments where I've been above what I owe. There's moments where I've been way below what I owe. And now I'm right around the factor, whereas depending on how you look at it, I'm either breaking even or I'm slightly above the equity point in owning this car. I mention that because a lot of people say it was a bad investment. I'm not going to lie to you. Any new car you buy can be a bad investment. Technically, all new cars are bad investments. None of them really appreciate. So when you look at the fact that it's a Corvette and it was purchased brand new, it never was going to appreciate. But at the end of the day, it still holds its weight in value amongst other Corvettes. And I think that's the key thing we all really try to focus on. Once we get past that, the other factor I like about owning Zeus is that he's still head turning and draws attention 5 years later. The Corvette hit the street, hit the marketplace in 2020. And in 2025, I still watch people turn heads, drive up, wave, want to have conversations with me, talk to me, tell me it's a beautiful car, this, that, and the other. And I think that's amazing considering there are over 200,000 C8s on the street. Yeah, you heard me right. 200,000 C8s on the street as of now, and Zeus still draws attention. Even when I go to Corvette events, you don't see a lot of C8 Zeus bronze cars. So he tends to pull a crowd to him when I go to events. So because of the presence that Zeus draws, he makes owning his car still fun. He makes me happy to be the owner. But then I come to that factor, whereas all good things come to an end, and I've just had Zeus so long, and I really feel like it's time for a change. But because he draws attention and still turns heads, I enjoy the ownership. So I go back and forth a lot of times on should I move on from Zeus. Now, I would like to talk about the reliability of Zeus. Like I said, I haven't had any issues. Many major issues that come from Zeus. I've only had one problem with my car since my ownership, and I'm going to share that with you. That problem was you can let the top up and down while you're driving. I was letting my top up while driving into a gas station, and someone wasn't looking, and they almost ran head on into me, so I swerved to get out the way. When I swerved with the convertible top motion in place going up, what actually took place is the top shifted, and when it closed, it didn't secure completely, meaning one side of the car latched, the other side of the roof didn't, and it triggered one of the gears to go too far in the turns because it has teeth, and one gear turned too far trying to clamp and didn't secure. So once I let the top back down and back up, the motion was offset, meaning that when the gear that took the extra turn, the tooth, when it secured, the other side didn't, never triggering a sensor to react, which left me with an error code majority of the time. I let my top up. I had to play with it a couple of times that said the top is not secure. What I quickly learned is when the top is not secure, the car will not go over 56 miles an hour, or maybe 58 miles an hour. So that became an issue. So the car that I used to drive so much and love to drive, and I rarely ever had the top up, people start to see me rolling around town, and I rarely ever had the top down. That was the repercussion of that situation, only because when I started talking to dealerships about taking it in, no one had availability to look at my car. So, or they kept saying, yeah, you can bring it in, we'll get to it, we can get to it, and we'll probably get it back in 2 or 3 weeks. I just couldn't see parting ways with Zeus in the middle of the car season for 2 or 3 weeks, or with no real definite timeline. So I chose not to go that route. But ultimately how it ended up playing out was I took the vehicle in. I quickly learned I have a 0 deductible warranty, which means when this took place, the 3-year, 36,000 mile warranty had expired, but I also have an extension on my warranty for factory coverage, as many like to call it. But besides the point, it has a $0 deductible warranty. One thing you need to be aware of when you get a $0 deductible warranty is it only recovers replacement of broken parts. Something has to be broken for them to cover it with $0 deductible. Understand that. If you get a $100 deductible, they will help you with the purchase cost, or should I say the cost of adjustments, recalibrations, or should I say adjustments, calibrations, or reprogramming. With a $0 deductible warranty, they do not cover reprogramming or adjustments. That's out of pocket on you. I tend to believe this is an issue because when you have a $100 deductible, for the most point of it, the $100 deductible will cover majority of your reprogramming costs, and the warranty company only has to cover maybe 20, 30 bucks. Because you're paying the bulk out the 100, and please don't have a $200 deductible, most companies won't bat an eye at paying a $20, cost for your car going in. But when you have 0 deductible, they only want to handle repairs, meaning something has to be broken or require replacement, not adjusting and reprogramming. Oh, we're looking at a Bentley. Yep, that is a Bentley, not a Bentayga, but a Mustang. So, nice car. But, getting away from the Mustang. So, like I said, that was the only issue I had my entire time, my ownership with Zeus, and that was a self-generated injury, should I say. But other than that, Zeus has been 100% reliable, and he's been done and been everything I could ask for. I have no complaints about my ownership of my vehicle. Ownership costs, other than oil changes and the random, and I say random, but they're really not random, the trans filter and fluid flush replacements and things of that nature, that's all I've paid for. The brakes I haven't hit a point where the brakes require replacement yet. I bought 1 set of tires, but I'm rolling on aftermarket wheels, as you saw for Zeus. These are Aerolari wheels. I got 21s in the back, 20s in the front. I have replaced the tires because I had a beautiful track day, and I did add the 2 quarts of oil, but that was done by my dealership for free the first time I took it in for servicing. So I think that's another factor too, because a lot of people say their dealers won't do it, or they charge some crazy pricing to add the 2 quarts of oil. And I really tell everybody, I've been blessed. Some of it is because I do have a social media presence. Other factors of it is just you go to the right locations, you talk to the right people, you have conversations, you network, and dealers will take care of you. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. The same way I say dealers will take care of you, I've also had bad experiences. The dealership that fixed my convertible top, bad experience. I mean, we can talk about it in another video, but I don't want to harp too much on that because that wasn't a big part of my 4-year ownership. But I guess at the end of the day, in my 4-year ownership review, I will sit there and say that for the most part, I got my car serviced at a Chevy, Cadillac, Toyota dealer. And by doing that, the servicing department was more upscale for the Cadillac portion of the dealership. And so I didn't get the normal Chevy treatment. And I was very persistent on making sure that didn't happen, because the one thing about owning a supercar is most supercars come with a high-end service department. You get basic, and I say basic, like Cadillac, Lincoln luxury treatment for owning your car. So if you think about that, the Acura NSX, you're at an Acura dealership, more of an upscale luxury brand anyway. If you go to Ferrari, Porsche, Lambo, Audi, McLaren, all higher end upscale dealers, so you're going to do a different treatment. If you go to a Chevy dealership, they're going to treat you like you own a Cavalier, even though you do own a Corvette. That's the only part I do not like about the Corvette ownership. So I tell everybody, if you're looking and there's possible in your area that you have a Chevy store connected to a Cadillac dealer and they share service departments, take your car there and you will get the supercar treatment you're looking for. If not, look for a high performance location. People say, what is a high performance location? Chevy has several high performance service departments across the country. The high performance service departments are the departments that typically are certified and specialized, and my key word is specialized, in working on ZR1s, ZLEs, the high performance top of the line. We're talking about crazy horsepower cars, which also goes down to Escalade Vs, CTS Vs, things of that nature. They are used to working on these high performance cars. Those service departments are a little bit more upscale too, because a lot of the customers that own these cars are more of the higher end clientele. So if you're looking for a real high end clientele service treatment, that's my answer for you. I guess it's time to talk about what do I really think of my ownership experience and would I recommend it to anyone else. When it comes to my ownership experience, I would say this. The one thing that I really like about owning the Corvette or the Corvette C8 period is that you are now part of a brotherhood. There are many other brands, and I would say brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever you want to call them, but to me, there's nothing like the Corvette community. The Corvette community can be a very pleasant place. It can be a pain in the butt. It can be a very unwelcoming place, mainly because it's so broad and so wide. You have what they call Corvette purists, the people that believe nothing should be done to the car, that it should be kept in factory spec because the best way it was ever made was straight from the factory. You have the opposite end of the spectrum where you have the Corvette owners that believe everything should be customized on the car, down from the seat colors and covers to your own personalized stickers on the outside. The car should be themed. It should have a name. You should have, at a minimum, customized wheels. Your car needs to be an extension of your own personality. That's the opposite side of the spectrum. And you have communities, car clubs, and so forth that embrace that. And then you have everything in between. And I'm more of a betweener, but I've received nothing but love and respect, admiration, and appreciation, I would say, from 96% of the Corvette community and the locations that I go to. Every now and then I'll come across a purist that has something to say because I did some form of modifications to my car, including adding the boiler attack exhaust, which I showed you in the beginning. And I would say this to you, that boiler attack exhaust is 100% amazing. It changed the whole personality of the car. It makes everybody turn head. There's nothing like it when you're on the expressway and you hear it coming. It sounds like a race car is coming. And for the bulk of the time, people will move out your way because when they hear it, they're looking for like what's coming, and all they see is your car, which is already looking fast. Like, that's the funny part about having a sports car, a supercar, an aerodynamic mid-engine car. When it's rolling at you, it looks like it's going faster than what it's going. And then when you hear that loud noise, it makes you think or feel like this thing is coming up on me fast. And for that purpose, a lot of people get out your way, and I love it. So when it's coming, you see people looking, and then when you go past, you see people staring. That boiler attack exhaust system is probably the best purchase, if you ask me, that I put on this car. Now, I'm not here to represent boiler. I don't get a kickback. And I'll be honest with you. Most of the exhaust systems that come out here for your car, AWE, Corsa, and so forth, they all make very good exhaust systems. They sound very close. The reason why I went with boiler is because I do have the active exhaust where you can switch the modes and close and open changes. So I wanted to keep that possibility, and the AWE didn't do it. Then also, I saw boiler had more heat shield protection versus the others, and that's one thing about this car. If you put something in the rear trunk, yes, the rear trunk, not the front trunk, but the rear trunk, that trunk area gets hot. With the boiler attack exhaust system, it gets even hotter, but by having the heat shield that they provided and that they manufactured to reduce the amount of heat transfer, it actually doesn't get as hot as the stock exhaust system with the back. So beforehand, I would put stuff in the back, and when I take it out, it'd be scorching hot. I've driven this Corvette, I've driven Zeus from Chicago to Corvettes at Carlisle, and yes, there is some heat transfer on the items that are in the trunk, but they are not burning hot like several of the items in my friends' cars who don't have an upgraded boiler exhaust system. They don't even have an upgraded system. They have a factory system. Their stuff was way hotter than mine. So that was another reason why I went with boiler. And I say this to everybody. I think you won't get the true ownership experience that's head-turning and mind-boggling if you don't upgrade the exhaust system. To me, that is a must, followed by upgrading the wheels. Think about that if you decide to become an owner. Now, I feel like I've kept you for a long time, so I'm going to just run through a couple other options and let you up out of here. I decided to go with a ducktail rear wing. I wanted a high wing when I first started out, but the high wing I wanted, I could not find, and it was not really available on the marketplace at the time. And it took too long for people to manufacture a high wing that I really desired or liked. And I like to have my car look slightly different. So I was one of the first people with a ducktail rear wing. They are more common now, and I see them a lot more when I go out to events. I've also added the side skirts. They were on constraint when my car was built. It was something I did want. I added them to this car, and I love the look. I added the ZR1 front end grille, pretty much based off the C7 ZR1 look, not the C8. And that gives my car a more menacing look if you look at it coming down the street or coming head on to you. So because of that, I like the appeal and the look of my car. And as pictures go out, as I put up posts, more people see it. I see my car in a lot of thumbnails for people, videos, promotions for car shows. People love the look of my car, and I like the look of my car. I get so many compliments on it. So that's one of those questions. If you have a C8, could you do just a base C8? When I first got it, I was chasing that Ferrari S look, but the longer I had it, I was like, I need something more aggressive and more menacing. But at the end of the day, 4 years of ownership, I feel like it's worth every penny. No major issues with my car. Zeus has been the best hidden gem and the best Corvette I've owned thus far. So if you ask me, I would buy another Corvette C8. I would recommend owning a Corvette C8. And if you're thinking about getting your hands on one, I would tell you do it. That's my thoughts. That's my conversation. 4 years of ownership with Zeus. If you have any questions for me, drop them in the comments below. ICNV Driver's Edition. Go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Join the ICNV Driver Edition community. We are an interactive community, which means if you hit me up on any one of my social media platforms or in the comments below, I will do my best to respond. And if the topic you bring up is interesting enough, I may even shoot a video on it. Don't forget, we were all made in his image and given dominion over the world, which means we weren't just meant to be. So chase your dreams, build your visions, never ever give up, and embrace your own identity. It is okay to be unique. He's not done with you, and he's definitely not done with me. You are more than capable of achieving your dreams. You were given everything that you need. So remember to stay humble, stay focused, and stay blessed. And I will see you in these streets. And hopefully you are enjoying the ownership of a Corvette C8 as well. Peace.